Section 110.26c of the National Electrical Code, or NEC, addresses workspace requirements for electrical equipment. These requirements are crucial for ensuring the safety of personnel working on or near electrical installations. The primary goal is to provide sufficient space for electricians and other qualified individuals to safely perform their tasks, including inspection, maintenance, and repairs. The code specifies minimum dimensions for the depth, width, and height of the working space. These dimensions vary depending on the voltage of the equipment and the conditions present in the surrounding area. Firstly, let's consider the depth of the working space. The depth is measured from the front of the electrical equipment to the nearest obstruction. The minimum depth requirements are outlined in a table within section 110.26c, and they are determined by the nominal voltage to ground and the conditions described. Condition 1 exists where there are exposed live parts on one side of the working space and no live or grounded parts on the other side of the working space, or where exposed live parts are on both sides of the working space that are effectively protected by insulation. Condition 2 applies where there are exposed live parts on one side of the working space and grounded parts on the other side. Condition 3 is present when there are exposed live parts on both sides of the working space. The minimum depth increases as the voltage and condition severity increase. For example, for equipment operating at 150 volts to ground or less, the minimum depth might be 3 feet for condition 1, 3 feet for condition 2, and 3 feet for condition 3. For equipment operating at higher voltages, such as between 601 and 2500 volts, the minimum depth could be 4 feet for condition 1, 5 feet for condition 2, and 6 feet for condition 3. These are just examples, and you should always refer to the specific table in 110.26c to determine the exact requirements for a given installation. Secondly, the width of the working space is another critical factor. The code mandates a minimum width of 30 inches or the width of the equipment, whichever is greater. This ensures that there is adequate lateral space for workers to maneuver and perform their tasks safely. It's important to note that the working space must be clear and unobstructed. Any obstacles that could impede movement or create a hazard should be removed. Thirdly, the height of the working space must also meet specific requirements. The code specifies a minimum headroom clearance of 6 feet 6 inches or the height of the equipment, whichever is greater. This ensures that workers have sufficient vertical space to stand and work comfortably without the risk of hitting their heads on overhead obstructions. In addition to the minimum dimensions, section 110.26c also addresses other important considerations. For instance, the working space must be adequately illuminated. Proper lighting is essential for visibility and helps to prevent accidents. The code requires sufficient illumination to safely perform tasks in the working space. Furthermore, the code addresses the issue of dedicated equipment space. The space above and below electrical equipment must be kept clear of obstructions that could interfere with the equipment's operation or maintenance. This dedicated equipment space typically extends from the floor to a height of 6 feet above the equipment or to the structural ceiling, whichever is lower. Pipes, ducts, and other foreign equipment are generally prohibited from being installed within this dedicated equipment space. Another important aspect of 110.26c is the requirement for access to the working space. The code mandates that there must be a clear and unobstructed path to the working space. This path should be wide enough and high enough to allow workers to safely carry tools and equipment. Additionally, the code addresses the issue of entrance to the working space. For equipment rated 1200 amps or more and over 6 feet wide, there must be at least 2 entrances to the working space. This provides a means of egress in case of an emergency. These entrances must be located so that personnel can readily escape in the event of an arc flash or other hazardous condition. It's also worth noting that 110.26c includes provisions for equipment located in confined spaces. In such cases, the working space requirements may be modified to accommodate the limited space available. However, the fundamental principle of providing adequate space for safe work practices still applies. The NEC also addresses specific requirements for working space around specific types of electrical equipment. For example, there are specific requirements for working space around switchboards, panel boards, and motor control centers. These requirements may vary depending on the size and configuration of the equipment. The working space requirements outlined in 110.26e are not merely suggestions. They are mandatory requirements that must be followed to ensure compliance with the NEC and to protect the safety of workers. Failure to comply with these requirements can result in serious consequences, including fines, penalties, and, most importantly, injuries or fatalities. It's essential for electrical contractors, electricians, and other qualified individuals to be thoroughly familiar with the requirements of 110.26c and to ensure that all electrical installations meet these standards. Regular inspections and maintenance are also crucial for ensuring that working spaces remain clear and unobstructed. Any obstructions or hazards should be promptly removed to maintain a safe working environment. In addition to the NEC requirements, it's also important to follow any applicable safety regulations and best practices. Employers should provide adequate training to their employees on electrical safety and safe work practices. This training should cover topics such as arc flash hazards, lockout-tagout procedures, and the proper use of personal protective equipment, or PPE. PPE, such as arc flash suits, gloves, and safety glasses, can provide additional protection in the event of an electrical incident. It's also important to conduct regular risk assessments to identify potential hazards in the workplace. These assessments should consider factors such as the voltage of the equipment, the type of work being performed, and the presence of any environmental hazards. By identifying these hazards, employers can implement appropriate control measures to minimize the risk of accidents. The working space requirements outlined in 110.26c are a critical component of electrical safety. By providing adequate space for workers to safely perform their tasks, we can significantly reduce the risk of electrical accidents and injuries. It's essential for all stakeholders to understand and comply with these requirements to create a safe and productive working environment. Furthermore, it is crucial to remember that the requirements outlined in 110.26c are minimum standards. In some cases, it may be necessary to provide even more working space than the code requires to ensure the safety of workers. Factors such as the complexity of the work being performed, the presence of multiple workers, and the potential for unforeseen hazards should all be considered when determining the appropriate amount of working space. The goal should always be to provide a working environment that is as safe as possible. The NEC is regularly updated to reflect changes in technology and best practices. It's important to stay current with the latest edition of the code to ensure that all electrical installations meet the most up-to-date safety standards. The NEC is available for purchase from various sources, including the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, and other industry organizations. In addition to the NEC, there are also other standards and guidelines that provide valuable information on electrical safety. These include standards from organizations such as the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEE, and the American National Standards Institute, or ANSI. These standards cover a wide range of topics, including arc flash hazard analysis, grounding and bonding, and electrical equipment maintenance. It's important to consult these standards to gain a comprehensive understanding of electrical safety best practices. The working space requirements outlined in 110.26c are not just about compliance with the NEC. They are about protecting the lives and well-being of workers. By providing adequate space for safe work practices, we can prevent accidents, injuries, and fatalities. Electrical safety should always be a top priority, and the working space requirements of 110.26c are an essential element of a comprehensive electrical safety program. Remember that a safe working environment is a productive working environment. When workers feel safe and secure, they are more likely to be focused, efficient, and effective. By investing in electrical safety, we are investing in the success of our businesses and the well-being of our employees. The information provided here is intended for general guidance only. It's essential to consult with a qualified electrical professional for specific advice on electrical safety and compliance with the NEC. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it should only be performed by qualified individuals who have the necessary training and experience. Always follow safe work practices and wear appropriate PPE when working on or near electrical equipment. By working together, we can create a safer and more productive electrical industry. Finally, remember that electrical safety is an ongoing process. It's not something that you can simply set and forget. Regular inspections, maintenance, and training are essential for maintaining a safe working environment. Stay informed about the latest electrical safety standards and best practices, and always prioritize safety in all of your electrical work. By doing so, you can help to prevent accidents, injuries, and fatalities, and create a safer and more productive workplace for everyone.